Howdy, y'all. I'm Justin.
And I'm Kim.
Welcome to Cowboys Like Us, the podcast where we talk about Taylor Swift and her music. Yeehaw. Hello, and welcome once again to Cowboys Like Us, the only podcast that never goes out of style.
Until it does.
Until it does. Thank you so much for joining us today for our very special bonus episode where we talk about 1989 Taylor's version, which came out just hours ago.
Welcome, everyone, to the Harry Styles album. Happy to have you.
Yep. Madeline is here.
I'm here. I exist.
Yep.
I also witnessed Harry Styles' destruction.
Indeed. And we're going to talk about that and more.
Yep.
I would like to mention the process listening to it last night because she did break the internet a bit last night.
Well, maybe we should just start with Madeline listen to it first.
Yeah, so I stayed up until midnight, which was 11 our time, midnight, New York time. And I stayed up to listen to the whole thing. I started listening to Wildest Dreams about 10 minutes before 11 p.m. our time. And then I followed that with This Love just so that I could get those tracks under my belt before I listened to the rest of it. And I had about a minute left to wait and record screen grabs for our social medias. So if you check out our socials today, you'll see I recorded the process of watching the album come out on Spotify. Now, I did not have very many issues. I had minimal issues with Spotify, but there were a lot of people last night who could not get into the album through Spotify and Apple Music. Both sites crashed for various people. I watched the countdown and I was able to hit listen now, and it loaded and it played Welcome to New York quickly and easily. I started at the top of the album because I'm that guy. I listened to it in order, and once I got to Bad Blood, the track glitched and stopped playing. It actually had me back out of Spotify again, and I was worried that I was going to get completely kicked out because I'd seen people on X talking about their apps going down. I had to back out and come back in and start the song over, and it hadn't held my spot. I was most of the way through the song. So this time, when I pulled it back up, I pulled the lyrics up because I wished that life had subtitles. And I noticed that the Bad Blood lyrics were incorrectly posted last night. I was not the only person that noticed this, but I did notice it about 11:04 last night. The featuring Kendrick Lamar version lyrics were posted instead.
Gasp.
Yeah, I was able to get all the way through to the vault track. I did have to start Slut over again. I got maybe the first, just the lyrics that she had teased online before Spotify glitched again. And I had to start it over. But I was able to listen through the album while skipping Wildest Dreams and This Love so that I could get through it last night, all within, immediately it following coming out. Do you guys have any issues this morning?
When I started listening the first time, I think it was probably around 8 a.m. Central Time, and I had no problems. So I guess it had been sorted out by then, or the demand had leveled out.
Yeah, by the time I started listening, I had no problems.
I listened through last night and then noticed the Bad Blood lyrics, and I had started seeing people going, oh, it's double album drop, we're going to get the Kendrick version, and then we wake up and 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. New York time, we get Bad Blood featuring Kendrick Lamar on 1989 Taylor's version deluxe.
Were there any other additional tracks on the deluxe edition?
No, it was just Bad Blood featuring Kendrick Lamar, and I personally a little disappointed. I don't think that necessarily this will be all the music that we get from her from this era. I don't know, but I find it interesting that she's gonna immediately release another version with only one exclusive song. I guess I'm thankful it's on Spotify.
Yeah, for sure. I guess let's just get into our sort of thoughts on the project as a whole. What were your overall impressions the first time you listened to it?
I was excited.
You were excited.
about what I heard.
Okay.
That was my overall impression.
Madeline?
Well, my jaw was on the floor. I loved it. It, quietly in the middle of the night in my house, my jaw was on the floor. I didn't really experience the 1989 era truly as like a hardcore Swiftie because I wasn't listening to Taylor stuff as it was coming out. I wasn't paying attention to Taylor at the time. I was a sophomore in college when this one dropped. And then when the original one dropped, I really loved the radio hit. I mean, she had 6 radio hits with this album, and I really loved that, but it wasn't enough to bring me back to Taylor, going into the Rhett era. So this really marks a time when I put a pause on my Taylor Swift listening. So coming back to it later in life and hearing the Taylor's version and really listening to this album, I have so much respect for it. It has just skyrocketed through my rankings because I tried not to listen to the stolen versions, not try to get opinions on those. But listening to the Taylor's version, the production quality had me on the floor, and it had me up and dancing at one point in the middle of the night because this album slaps, man. It is. I saw somebody wrote it wasn't broken. I don't know how she fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have talked about it on this podcast before, but the first Taylor album that I really liked a lot was Red. So that kind of got me on the train. So I was on it when 1989 came out. I was eagerly anticipating 1989. And 1989 came out and it fucking banged. Track 1 through track whatever it is, whichever one the New Romantics is. Guys, I got the deluxe edition at Target, and then obviously couldn't listen to it for years because of the re-recording thing, and I'm righteous. So I've been eagerly awaiting the TV, and so it's been a great day for me. I was very excited to listen to it, and it did not disappoint. I was talking to y'all earlier about how 1989 has always been up there for me in my album rankings, sort of top tier along with Folklore and Red and now Midnights as well. But after today, I'm calling it officially 1989 Taylor's version, the full 21 track experience, is my favorite Taylor Swift album. Not the best Taylor Swift album, although it's close. I still think Folklore is better, but it's my favorite because it just bangs. Every track on it bangs, and it's crazy.
It has no skips.
Nope, not a one.
Yeah.
What order did you listen to it in, Justin?
I listened from number 1 to number 21.
Nice. I'm that guy too.
Sequential.
Madeline was whining that I hadn't listened to the vault tracks yet, so I listened to the first
Kim hasn't done her
I
homework.
skipped to the vault, and then I went back.
Okay.
But I have heard.
Spoiler, pod listeners, Kim is a child of divorce.
Yeah.
Her mother, Taylor Swift, and her father, Harry Styles, have been separated for quite some time. And she needed to wake up and listen to the vault track.
I was going to do what you're supposed to do and listen to it all the way through in order, but Madeline was persistent that I listened to the vault tracks, so I did. But I've heard 1989 enough to know the standard album, even the deluxe album, forwards, backwards, and upside down, so it didn't really matter that I skipped the vault. In my opinion, I went into it thinking that because I had seen the Eras tour so many times and heard a good chunk of these songs before, I guess sort of in Taylor's version before it came out, I really did think that the sound was going to be that different. And then when I listened to it, I was very shocked at how different it was.
Yeah, we need to talk about the sound production wise and mixing wise because social media has been very divided on it. Some people really like it and think it has improved on the original, whereas others think, they ruined it. They didn't mix it right, and so now it sounds bad.
I think that is incorrect. I think that the original was great for its time, but they fixed all of the things that maybe they didn't love about or at least that I didn't love about the first go round of this album.
I think the original version, it already slapped. It's not saying this in a negative light on the original version, but it was such a product of its time. And it sounds so 2014. And the drum kit sounds 2014. And I feel like I should be a sophomore in college again if I listened to that sound. And a lot of music at that time had a lot of electronic undertones. And I feel like the Taylor's version has cut out some of that didn't age well or age gracefully. she cut out, or they, I don't know, I know Jack Antonoff had a heavy hand in this one. They cut out a lot of that electronic filler that took up a lot of space on the track, and it made it a lot cleaner to me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way home, listening to it again, that there used to be, and I guess it was probably like that electronic filler that you're talking about, there used to be like this tone, this pitch in almost every song on 1989 that just overstimulated my ear. Just by a little bit. And I could enjoy the songs, but it was almost like I needed to turn them down because they were too overwhelming. And I feel like that's gone.
Yeah, I think Max Martin was on the original, not just as co-writing, but producing a lot of it. And he didn't do any production work, I don't think, on the TV. And I think that makes a lot of difference because he just has that one sort of go-to sound that he does, that sort of super polished, sounds like one just generic pop song every time, you know, what he does.
He uses one drum kit and named it after himself.
Yeah, and so I think that the new mixes sound better because I can hear live drums, which is cool. I like a drum machine if used effectively, but I also like live drums, and when they're on the track, I'd like to be able to hear them. And I can on the TV, so that's cool.
Yeah, there's something about just like all of the little things, little like ticks. I wrote down a couple that I noticed. Let me get down to it. Like in I Know Places, the sound of the tape recorder at the beginning and the sound of her voice sounding like it is being recorded rather than just her singing. That is so much crisper.
It is sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the story it's trying to tell is actually being set up. Whereas I feel like on the original, you could barely hear that unless you were like blasting the song. So you didn't really get the whole picture.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's on music. I mean, just improving with time. Just music production has come so far just in 9 years.
Is there a song on the record that for you is the most sort of improved by the production changes and the re-recording?
Yeah, from the standard, like not including our vault.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. I gotta go Style. Style slaps on a different level. Style is so clean and so crisp, and it was already a perfect song. But this is the perfect version of the song Style.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely Out of the Woods. Out of the Woods was, of the singles, I would say, probably my least favorite of the original version. Just because I thought, I don't know, I wanted something else from it that it just didn't quite give me. And now I know what that is, which is the big bombastic drums. And I get them now on the TV, and that shit bangs.
Yeah,
I have 3 that were equally affected in that, like, the production of them combined with the maturity of her voice has completely changed their ranks. They used to be at like the very bottom of 1989 for me, and now I'm having a hard time figuring out where they fit. They might be middle, might be high, but it's I Wish You Would, How You Get the Girl, and All You Had to Do Is Stay.
Yep. I've always liked those 3, and I still do now.
But they've always been just like okay, but I feel like now they're great.
Yeah.
There are still songs on 1989, especially Taylor's version now, that are amazing and are better than them. But they've definitely gone from okay to great, surpassed good.
Yeah. The production quality is incredible on the whole album.
Also, Clean is so fucking good.
So good.
It's so good.
Yeah, we also got, mentioning Clean, we've gotten a lot of merch drops throughout this whole thing, and we've gotten several things come out that were related to the Eras tour. And one of the merch things we got was an umbrella that has Clean lyrics on it. It is a $70 umbrella, and there are people that are very, very excited and people that are very, very upset because there is a Clean umbrella and it is expensive. But the other thing that we got today with the this morning, by the time the deluxe had dropped, we have the Eras Tour visuals for the song Clean on YouTube, Taylor's YouTube, on the Clean lyric video.
Yeah.
So what she's projecting on the back of the stage is now the lyric video, and it's crisp and clear and awesome, and you can watch it whenever you want now.
The $70 umbrella, no matter what it says, is absolutely ludicrous.
Yep.
Yep.
And although,
What if it was like, okay, Kim and I, we saw an umbrella that had like a normal logo or picture on the outside, you know, words on the outside, umbrella. But on the inside, when you open it up, it had a photograph, like a nice photograph. And you can do it of a building or of a person. It'd be cool if it was an umbrella that had like clean lyrics on the outside. and you pop it open, and it's like a visual from the Eras tour. It's her laying on the stage.
Seagulls under the bottom.
Seagulls. Yeah, it's 5 seagulls on the other side. That might make me spend $70 on an umbrella.
Yeah.
But that's not it. It's a regular umbrella.
If you had that umbrella with the photograph in it, you could give people to Chad Kroger. You'd come up to them, open the umbrella, and say, "Look at this photograph."
Put a graph on it, and then you just go, "Look at this graph." Like
Graph. You get one that has a graph on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Also today at 2:00, we all got a little excited that maybe we'd get the double drop, but then we didn't. It was in fact just the 1989 cardigan.
Oh,
which
it's
is
so
very
pretty.
Beautiful. Yeah, it is
It's a beautiful cardigan.
And although it makes more sense that the cardigan is $70 than the umbrella, but still not paying $70 for a cardigan.
No.
Yeah, and it's a nice knit cardigan. I mean, we were seriously debating on spending the $70 today.
Yeah.
It's a knit cardigan. It is a moss stitch. It's beautiful in bright blue. This is probably my favorite of the cardigan sets that we've gotten so far. I really like the seagull on the back, or the seagulls on the back.
Squaw.
If you are willing to spend $70 on a cardigan to look like Taylor Swift, it's only available for ordering for like 70 hours. So gotta get on that.
Yep. I think we need to talk about the vault.
Absolutely. This vault is crazy. We got 5 tracks, and Jack Antonoff produced all 5. And as we found out earlier this year, I'm just a Jack Antonoff fan.
We have Slut, of course, the title that broke the internet.
Yep.
And that was the one that started as a single this morning.
Yep. It has been announced that it is the single that's going to radio first.
We have Say Don't Go, Now That We Don't Talk, Suburban Legends, and Is It Over Now? Which is your favorite?
Oof. My favorite vault track is Say Don't Go. It is probably a 10 out of 10 for me. Spoiler alert for whenever we end up doing this episode.
Kimberly?
Well, I'm going to take this moment to say that 3 out of the 5 are 100% definitively about Harry Styles. But we'll, of course, talk about that more when we talk about those songs. But my least favorite is a lot easier.
What's that?
Madeline and I were talking about this earlier. Suburban Legends is definitely my least favorite
Okay.
out of all
Yeah,
of them.
me too. I easily agree with that one, and we can go in more into that deeper when we do go into the when we get to that episode. I just feel like it's the weakest of all the tracks on the album. It's probably the weakest on the album, and I understand why it didn't end up on the original 1989.
Yeah, one of them has to be the weakest.
Yeah,
So,
it does. I think my favorite is It Over Now?
yeah, me too.
I want to say Slut, but I think if Slut was just like half a minute longer, if it was a little bit more of a substantial song, it would be my favorite, no question.
I like Slut a lot, but I like Is It Over Now better.
Yeah,
It's just,
it's such a good song to end on.
yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of ending on It's Over Now, what I was going to mention as we were shifting into the vault tracks was what else we got from Taylor today. In the ultimate millennial nostalgia Taylor Swift move, she went to Tumblr. The pod does not have a Tumblr, but the pod gremlin Madeline does. So I went to Tumblr, and she released her voice memos, just like the original 1989 when she started with the voice memo thing. She released a handful of them on Tumblr Music today, and one of them was about the vault track Is It Over, and she said or Is It Over Now? She says that she loves putting it at the end because she loves the question, is the album over now? Is it?
No, it's not, Taylor, because we're still getting a double drop.
The other question that I keep seeing around that I wanted to pose to you guys here in this vault discussion is about Slut. Did you think it was going to be upbeat, or were you voting that it was going to be melancholic or slow?
I would have pegged it as sort of like me, like upbeat and just, winking.
Is it the exclamation point?
Yeah, probably so.
It's the exclamation point.
That's what I was thinking, but obviously it's not, and it's better for it, I think.
Yeah, I thought the content of the song was going to be what it is, but I thought it was going to be a big pop number with that content, not slow and mellow.
It's almost melancholic in a good way. It's not sad necessarily, but it is almost melancholic in its tone.
It is fun, like, to think about the fact that it really could have been. You could keep the lyrics basically the same and make it like a fun, big,
and put it over a different song.
Like Me. Yeah, just put it over a different track, and it could be like big like Me. And then she just chose like, no, this is what I'm gonna do.
The note that I put in my little notepad for today's episode is, Kim, Harry is dead, and this is his funeral.
I also wrote in my notes, as a Harry stan, I can admit his faults, just like Taylor. But like my man's really fucked shit up, and we knew that. But he just had his ass handed to him, and I support Taylor for that. I think that if I'd gotten Say Don't Go, Now We Don't Talk, and or It's Over Now in 2014, my brain would have exploded. And the only thing that gets me through now is knowing that they're on good terms.
In the
Yeah.
chat for this podcast staff,
Yes.
Yeah,
my immediate
Wild Wild West.
message was Harry just got nuked from orbit.
Yeah.
Because that is how it felt when I got done with Is It Over Now? Like, god damn.
He did get nuked from orbit when I was just desperate, because Kim had not listened to the vault tracks yet, and she was like tiptoeing on getting on the internet and like showing up in public as a Harry fan who hadn't heard the vault tracks yet. I also texted this staff group chat and said, Harry gets ripped a new one. It is all too well 10-minute version level. Red.
Yep. Harry Styles is over. It's over.
Oh, I love him. Kim and I talked earlier. We think I'd love to see. We haven't seen him on the internet today. There's been a lot of funny jokes about fake Harry accounts being like, I'm just not feeling good today, guys. I'm staying off the internet. But Kim and I were talking about it earlier, and I think he's heard him. I think he's heard him prior to them dropping.
He's not going to say anything. As the pod Harry Styles expert, former, current, it's still a directioner. I was going to say former.
I was about to say, I don't think you retire from that.
I can promise you he's not going to say anything publicly about this. He has only briefly talked about Taylor as an artist and her music. I was telling Madeline about this earlier. He had very positive things to say about Taylor when this album came out the first time, and everybody was like, style is definitely about you. And he was just kind of like, this is paraphrase, so don't take it word for word, but it was like, if that song is about me, then I should be honored that song was written about me, because that is a bop of a song. So he's not going to say anything. If he says something, it's not going to be negative, but like,
He's going to be like, this vault slaps.
Exactly. He's going to be like, these songs are great.
I don't know if they're about me, but if they were, I'd be proud.
But I was telling Madeline that like we know they're on good terms. They might not be best friends, but they are cordial. And I think it's to a point where she probably gave him some sort of heads up that these songs were coming.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, from what I know of him, and obviously I don't know all of him, I have a very parasocial relationship with him. It definitely seems like he would be like, you deserve to speak your truth. You deserve to put this out there. You deserve to own your music. So do what you got to do. I'm not worried about me. You don't worry about me. Like, I'm good. Because his fans are not going to be deterred. They know who he is. They know who he is.
I mean, she wrote a song that was like, this boy made me want to kill myself. And I cannot imagine being Blondie's therapist. This girl has written about jumping off stuff. And if joking about unaliving is not the most millennial thing you have ever heard, but this girl has written about jumping off tall places several times. And Mr. Styles, she has named you as the culprit. It's your fault.
We now have Fearless, Red, Speak Now, and 1989 Taylor's versions, 4, and we are still waiting on Rep and Debut.
Mhm.
Where does 1989 compare to the others thus far?
The whole vault?
Just
Or just the whole
the
album?
whole re-recorded album.
It blows everything
It's the
out.
top.
Yeah.
It tops it easy. Comes straight. This is my highest ranked Taylor's version album.
And
Yeah.
you know, the way she went about promoting this album, that was almost equivalent to a brand new album. I feel like she knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah, it's easily the number one for me, and it's probably going to stay that way because all we're going to get is Rep and Debut, and neither one of them I don't think will touch it.
Be fucking for real right now.
Kimberly has a reputation, Stan, because she has bad opinions. So
I don't know if Rep is going to overtake 1989 TV for me, but it'll come up in its rankings. It's pretty low in my album rankings right now, just because, again, it's a stolen version and I don't listen to all of it, and it's old, and I want the new, clean, matured Taylor voice. You know, I want everything that we've gotten with this album. I'm excited for the upcoming Taylor's version. Not that I wasn't before, but this is so good.
After hearing this version and being like, how do you fix something that was already perfect? I'm so excited for Rep. It's going to be so clean, so crisp, so clear. I'm so excited.
Like spring water.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Can't wait.
Do y'all have anything else before we get out of here?
I have two things
Okay.
I want to touch on. One, we've mentioned multiple times in this, but I want to say it clearly. My double drop theory does not go away with the fact that we didn't get the Black and White album today. I presented multiple facets of the theory, one of which is that it'll come out on November 10th, which is when she goes back on tour, or it'll be announced on the 9th, which is when she goes back on tour. That is still a possibility. I'm not giving up hope until after the 9th.
Kimberly is in a doomsday cult. And like all doomsday cults, they throw out lots of dates. And when one is proven wrong, they just say, oh, I got the math wrong.
No. It was already part of my standing theory. I'm just reminding everyone that my standing theory is not out of play yet completely. I still got one man left in the ring.
Yeah, she does. She has one date left, and I'm with it too. And Taylor keeps saying things. She knows. She is aware of both. And we haven't mentioned it on the pod, but I've seen it a little bit on the internet. There's also a triple drop theory or triple album theory. She's aware of all of these because she keeps saying things like that voice memo that we got today that says, is the album over now? Is it? Come on, girl.
I had that thought as well, in that the thought that I had on the way home was, do you ever think we put theories based on Easter eggs out there and are like, she's definitely doing this? And it was never in her plan, but then she sees our theories and was like, that's a good idea.
I love that.
To do that.
Yeah. Maybe, man. Maybe. It's wild.
So my other thing is that I'm just going to end on some homework for both of y'all and for all of our listeners.
Boy.
If you are not a Harry Styles fan, because if you are, you already know what I'm talking about. But your homework is to go listen to Say Don't Go, Now That We Don't Talk, and Is It Over Now? And then listen to Perfect on Made in the AM by One Direction, and then From the Dining Table by Harry Styles from his self-titled album. It gives you the alternative perspective on this whole relationship, and you can form your own opinions from there.
I'm not going to do that, much like every other homework assignment I've ever had. So
I'll listen to it. I'm excited. I did have, let me see, I wanted to touch on the critical reception. My brain said that you would do it, Justy, and I didn't look it up.
yeah, I didn't look it up.
All right, 1989 Taylor's version. Rolling Stone gave it a perfect 100, 10 out of 10 upon release. It started this morning with a Metacritic Metascore of 100, but it is actually, I just checked it, we are recording this at 6:51 Central Standard Time. It is down to a whopping 95 on Metacritic.
Oh, God.
Out of 100.
Yeah, anything above an 80 on Metacritic is considered, quote, universal acclaim. That's how the scale works.
Truly incredible. The New York Times header page, or the front page of their website today, said Taylor Swift's 1989 may be her biggest re-recording yet.
Read.
Yeah, she's hitting all the heavy hitters. The Times in the United Kingdom also started this morning. 20 hours ago, they started with Taylor Swift's 1989 Taylor's version is a pop masterclass. So very exciting. Getting raving reviews thus far. We'll see how it goes
Indeed.
once the Billboard chart hits.
Yep, excited to see that. For sure. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Madeline, thank you for being on again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We will see you on Monday for the regular episode. That'll be the next thing after this.
And on Tuesday for a Halloween episode.
Oh my God, spoilers. But yep, it's true. There will be a Halloween special on Tuesday.
If you guys follow us on the social medias, you saw the teasing. I teased out today that we had recorded our Halloween holiday special episode, and that we were recording our reactions to their ears as soon as possible. So thank you, listeners, for your kind patience. We'll see you all out this week.
Yes, we will see you on Monday. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cowboys Like Us. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, and X at CBLU_podcast. Email us directly at cowboyslikeUspodcast@gmail.com. New episodes every Monday on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Y'all come back now, you hear?